Saturday, ESPN Plus pay-per-view and Top Rank Boxing present the undisputed lightweight champion Devin East defends his title against former champ Vasily Lomachenko.
A chess match of elite boxing brilliance.
Haney versus Loma. Saturday at 10 p.m. Eastern. Buy it on ESPNplus.com/PPV. The Low Post Podcast with Zach Lowe.
As expected, Jaylen Brown made an All-NBA team, and he will now be eligible for the biggest possible contract he could be eligible for. They are immediately facing a decision. Are we putting all our eggs in this basket? Because I can tell you this, if they go to Jaylen Brown and get cute and be like, I know you're eligible for 35%, but can we do like a 30% and maybe it escalates to 31%? Like, that's not going to go over well.
Check out the Low Post Podcast on the ESPN app or wherever you listen to podcasts.
How are you? My name is Scott Van Pelt, host of SV Pod, along with my partner in crime, Stanford Steve. What do we talk about mostly on the podcast, Steve?
Sports.
Some.
Parenting.
I feel like that comes up a lot. I feel like most recently I've needed some help because I feel like my shortcomings there are evident. It's life stuff, relatable content.
It's fun.
It's just two bald-headed goons just talking about nonsense a lot in a crowded podcast space. There's that one.
We're here.
Here we are.
Coming to you live from the Superbook Sports Studios in Kettering. You're listening to Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM. All right, everybody, welcome in. Happy Monday. Kenner and Cav live here on Dayton's ESPN radio station, 1410 Wing AM. I hope everybody enjoyed their Mother's Day weekend. We are off and rolling to kick off the week, and we have a lot to dive into. For once, we're going to spend a little more time on the Cincinnati Reds today because I made a plea. I begged them before the season started, make April. Just get me through April. Well, here we are at the mid-May point. And the Reds are doing their best to make May great again. And we're going to talk some Reds. Nick Kirby going to join us coming up here about 3:40. We'll chat about the Cincinnati Reds. They made a major call-up over the weekend that has Reds fans buzzing. For those who do follow the minor league production for this franchise, there was a call-up over the weekend that is going to make things pretty exciting. Matt McClain, who just was called up or announced yesterday that he'd be called up in 37 games in the minor leagues. 37 games, 168 bats. He has 12 home runs, 40 RBIs, 12 stolen bases. The kid could just straight up play. So it's going to be interesting to see the impact that he has, where he's going to end up falling in the lineup. We'll get to all of that coming up. I'm Justin Kenner, riding solo today. Kev Nash returns to the show tomorrow. So you're stuck with just me. But if you want to be a part of the show and be the co-host for the day, you can. Give us a call at 518-1410. 518-1410. That's the number to jump in on any of the conversations we are going to have. We'll talk about the Lakers in the NBA playoffs, the Western Conference Finals. Can LeBron get to another NBA championship? Put your hatred for him aside and view him for what he is just a basketball player and one of the best to ever do it. We'll talk about that. College Football Hall of Famer Keith Byars will join us in studio. Coming up here, he said in about a half hour or so, he'll be in studio with us. We'll talk some Buckeyes, NFL, NBA playoffs, and all of that coming up, and that you'll have a chance to send in your questions for the Hall of Famer himself. So make sure you take advantage of that opportunity. But let's talk little Reds baseball, shall we? That's what I want to open up with today. So as we sit here right now, the Cincinnati Reds, 4 games under 500. I remember I think it was cap or no cap last week with Kev Nash, I specifically threw one out there that cap or no cap, the Reds would finish the month of May at 500 or better. And this is a team that has been as below as 7 or 8 games under 500. They are currently sitting right now 4 under. This is actually the best baseball that they have played all season long. There was a stretch where they got swept by the Pirates and they got beat up a few games ago or a few series ago. But since that Pirates series, when it looked like the season was about to unravel, there was a switch that has been flipped. And they're winning baseball games, not for the reasons we thought. And I know I've said this before, but I felt like this was a Reds team that was going to win because of starting pitching. I know that they were going to lose games because lack of power in the lineup. I thought they would lose games because of the bullpen. And it's actually the opposite. Although they may not be winning games because of power in the lineup because they don't have that, they do have a lineup that is very stingy at the plate. They do have a lineup that is a pain in the side to any opposing pitching, and they put runs up on the board. Are they one of the top run-scoring teams in baseball? No, they're not. But they're doing just enough to be dangerous. They're actually very clutch, and the bullpen is one of the best in baseball, and I can't believe I'm saying that because this bullpen should be the reason that this team looks like a minor league club, and that's not the case. And I want to open up with this because this is something I'm going to talk about with Nick Kirby coming up in a little bit. There's a lot of moving elements to this. The Reds are playing better than we expected, but there's a lot of questions I still have. For instance, is this team playing better than we expected, or is the rest of the National League worse than we expected? Is the National League Central worse than we expected? You know, a few weeks ago when the Pirates were sitting at the top of the division and they were one of the hottest teams in baseball, I kept saying, I don't think that's a good thing for baseball if the Pirates are one of the best teams in baseball, and that's no shot at the Pirates. But the Pirates just, and again, I think they're a better team than the Reds right now because they're a lot further along in their rebuild. But overall, the Pirates were kind of in a spot early in the season that not many people expected. The Reds are in a spot now where I guess you could say you expected them to be where they're at. I mean, they're fourth in the NL Central right now, only ahead of the Cardinals, who got a big win over the Red Sox yesterday. But it's like, how do we evaluate this Reds team? Are they better than we thought, or is the competition worse than we thought? They are not playing a tough schedule right now, but in their defense, they are capitalizing on that. I talked about the fact that they were playing some poor teams. They beat up on the Athletics. All right. They took care of business against the Marlins. They have Colorado coming up, who's not a very good baseball team. They're a couple games under 500. They got the Yankees, who are a few games over 500, but they're last in their division, and they are just beat up right now. So they'll have a chance to beat up on them. And then the Cardinals, who we're not used to, watching them play this poorly. The Reds, they have a lot of winnable series coming up. I think they could be above 500 or at 500 or maybe a game under 500 heading into June, which is something I don't think any of us expected. And they're still a team that's getting better. We haven't even got the best stretch of Nick Lodolo yet. Nick Lodolo's out for the time being. Graham Ashcraft got beat up his last outing, but you know what? He's been the most consistent starting pitcher that the Reds have had. Hunter Green has steadily gotten better and better each time out. And in the next 8 days, the Reds will have 2 outings from Hunter Green and 2 from Graham Ashcraft in quite a few winnable series and games coming up. So I like the pace. I like the direction that this 18 wins and 22 loss Reds team is going right now. Bringing up Matt McClain is a big deal because what's happening right now is right now the Reds are forcing the front office to maybe either make decisions they weren't contemplating making at this point, or at least coming into the season thinking that they were going to have to make these decisions. I think the ownership, like a lot of us and management, expected this team to maybe be 10 games under 500 right now, potentially expecting them to not even be within 10 games of the division right now. And right now they're 5. They're 2 games of the wild card. I know standings don't necessarily matter at this point, but there's a lot of moving elements, as I mentioned. When you look around, it's that the Reds' record is better than we had anticipated at this point of the season, and there's a lot of teams that have very poor records. All right, what we consider a very good record for the Reds at 18-22 maybe is not considered a good record for a lot of teams around the Reds right now, standings-wise. I mean, the American League is just loaded. The American League, for football fans out there, to kind of give you an idea, the American League reminds me a lot of the AFC in football. All right, and the National League reminds me a lot of the NFC in football, where there's good quality teams there, but the depth and the amount and the quantity of good teams, it doesn't even compare to what's happening in the American League right now. But again, as I mentioned, the Reds are 18-22. 18-22. We think that that's a good record considering the fact that the Reds are rebuilding. They're very young. They have made zero effort in the offseason to improve this team, and yet there they are. But what we consider a decent or good record is not considered a good record by the San Francisco Giants or the Padres, who are 19-22. The Padres have spent money to be a World Series contending team. You look at the New York Mets at 20-21. The Reds just took 2 or 3 from the New York Mets. The Reds feel good about their 18-22 record. The Mets feel disgusted by their 20-21 record. The Philadelphia Phillies should have a World Series caliber team. They're 20-20, 40 games in. The only team in the National League right now, the only 2 teams right now that really are feeling themselves are the Atlanta Braves and the Los Angeles Dodgers. And you can make an argument that even the Dodgers feel like they should be playing a lot better than they are, but they're sitting pretty. The team I can't figure out is the Milwaukee Brewers. They've won 3 straight. They're 5-5 in their last 10, but so are the Cincinnati Reds. two teams that over the last 10 games are playing even win-loss wise, but at the same time, the Reds, I think, have a lot more people buzzing about them than the Brewers, who are sitting in first place. And I say buzzing about the Reds because there's some excitement there. They're trying to make May great again. We usually are done by the end of April, and here we are with a couple weeks before June, and the Reds are making things interesting. 2 games back of the wild card. I don't mean to talk wild card. I don't mean to talk about, playoffs or anything like that. I don't think that this team is there. But the problem is that statistically, or at least standings-wise, they're going to be there. And I think that has put the pressure on the front office to call up Matt McClain. I think this is a good thing he's being called up. There is Elly De La Cruz, one of the best prospects in all of baseball, the Reds' top prospect. I cannot wait for when that is finally decided upon, calling him up, whether that's the next month, 2 months, or whatever. But if help is coming, and it is the youth movement coming up from AAA right now, if you go to any Louisville Bats game, you're watching the future Cincinnati Reds between their pitching, between their stars in the lineup. We've already plucked one. I say we. I mean the Reds have plucked one from the AAA roster. Man, this is going to be a fun stretch for the Reds. I told you guys coming in the midst of all your negativity and all you being angry at the Castellinis, I said, be angry at the owner. That is fine. But if you have never gone to a game because of an owner, don't stop going and supporting teams because of an owner, if that makes sense. I think we put too much stock into that. I think that while we're mad at the owner, we can't ignore the job that Nick Krall has done. And we're going to talk about that with Nick Kirby coming up here in about 30 minutes. But man, oh man, the Reds have made things interesting. And that's all I could ask for, because we are post free agency. We are post NFL draft. And usually for sports talk hosts, as we get here into list season, as we like to call it, in the middle of May, because we have a baseball team that's always out of it by end of April, it gets a little interesting for Kev and I here at the mid-May point, heading into June. And then once we get to July, at least we turn the page to start looking ahead. Oh, we could start using the phrases, a month from now, we got football. We got high school football next month. We got this. We're not there yet, but the Reds are giving us stuff to talk about right now, and I cannot tell you how happy I am. But here's the deal. The National League being down has put the pressure on the front office to make this move. And I don't know if it's a good or a bad thing. There is positive momentum in the future of the Cincinnati Reds because of the way McClain is hitting in the minors, because of Elly De La Cruz, because of Encarnacion Strand, because of all the guys that we have in the system. There's a positive momentum that is flowing right now with this team. My concern, if I want to at least flip over to the negative, because I'm very good at that, my concern is that we get to a point where the guys and the pieces that made us very optimistic about the future get called up prematurely, fall flat on their face, and totally take the wind out of everyone's sails as far as the optimism and excitement that we have. I truly believe that the front office expected this team to be 10 games plus under 500. I truly believe that the front office and management expected this team to be in dead last and nowhere close to talking about contending in any kind of field, whether it be wild card or the division. I don't think they win the division. I ultimately don't think they end up making wild card, but I think they're going to be in the mix within a 5-game window of that wild card for the remainder of the season. And I think that could be, although a fun thing, it could also be a bad thing. It could force the front office to prematurely call guys up that statistically are crushing it where they're at, but it doesn't necessarily mean that they are ready to be called up. I've never been a front office, representative for a Major League Baseball team. What do I know? I've never been a scout. But I'm just telling you right now, if the Reds were way worse than they are now, 10 games under 500, dead last, not sniffing anything, would we be forcing McClain to come up right now? I don't know. We're going to talk about that with Nick coming up around the corner. But that's my concern, is that the Reds are playing better than we thought, but the teams around them are also worse than we thought as well, which is now kind of moved up where we expected this team to be. I think a year from now, if the Reds were 4 games under 500 at the mid-May point, we would expect that. I think a year from now, we expect this team to be 500 or better at this time. I don't think that, it's not that I don't like, I know we did not expect that right now. And although I'm happy that this team is competing, last point, and I've made it already, but I'm going to repeat it for the third time. My last point, my major concern about all of this is that it's not that the Reds have put the front office in a position to make premature decisions. It's that the rest of baseball has now put the pressure on the front office to make decisions, because what if we are a McClain away from now closing the gap and becoming a 500 team? What if we bring up Elly De La Cruz and bring up Encarnacion Strand and we let the youth movement take over, and then they come up and they fall on their face. And now we've killed their confidence. We have to send them back down. And now Reds fans are right back down at rock bottom. Like, man, these guys are supposed to be the future, and they are. And if they don't succeed this call-up, it doesn't mean that they're not going to be stars in the future. But man, oh man, if everything falls into place with McClain, with Ellie De La Cruz, and Encarnacion Strand, mix that lineup and mix that what they could do defensively. Mix them in that lineup with Jonathan India and Tyler Stevenson, and with this bullpen, and just give another year or two for the prospects, and not really the prospects, but the guys in the rotation currently with Lodolo and Ashcraft and Green. When those guys when it all clicks, I think the Reds have something beyond special here. And I'm not here to sell you fluff. I gave you what I'm excited about. I also told you my concerns, but I want to hear from you. We're going to hear from Nick Kirby coming up here shortly. Keith Byars, College Football Hall of Famer. He'll be in with us. We'll switch gears to some NFL stuff and college football around the corner. But I'm going to open up the phone lines. I'm going to hit unlock. There we go. The phone lines are open. I'm going to step to the side for a few minutes. I'm going to collect your calls, get you guys in line. Are we a little too excited? Are we buying into the hype a little too much? Or is the hype for real? Is this Reds team, do they have something special? Or are we overreacting? 518-1410, 518-1410. That's the number to call and jump in on the conversation. We'll be right back.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash.
Justin, you're awesome, baby.
Right here on 1410 ESPN Radio. ESPN 1410 Wing AM weather.
Our forecast, partly cloudy and 50 tonight, partly sunny, 78 tomorrow, and sunshine but cooler, 62 on Wednesday. I'm Rick Schrempf for 1410 ESPN Radio.
At SimpliSafe, we know during a break-in, every second counts. So our home security system is powered by 24/7 professional monitoring agents who use Fast Protect technology, only from SimpliSafe, to capture video evidence and verify a threat for fast police response. Now, install SimpliSafe your way. Do it yourself or have an expert set it up for you with new Pro Install. Get 20% off any new system with interactive monitoring at simplisafe.com/radio. There's no safe like SimpliSafe.
Do you struggle with occasional nerve aches in your hands or feet? Try Nervive Nerve Relief from the world's #1 nerve care company. Nervive tablets contain alpha-lipoic acid to relieve nerve aches, weakness, and discomfort, plus B-complex vitamins to support healthy nerve function as you age. Live life with less nerve discomfort with Nervive Nerve Relief. Learn more at nervivehealth.com. And try Nervive Pain Relieving Cream to block nerve pain signals at the source. Use as directed.
O'Reilly. Did you know 1 in 4 car batteries is weak and needs to be replaced? O'Reilly Auto Parts will test your battery for free. If your battery needs to be replaced, our professional parts people can help you find the best Superstart battery for your vehicle and budget. Don't wait. Get your battery tested for free today at your local O'Reilly Auto Parts.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
At Lowe's, we're always bringing pros more ways to save. Right now, get a Flex 24-volt half-inch drill driver kit for only $99. Was $179. That's a savings of $80. Plus, you'll always save big on job lot quantities when buying select building supplies in bulk. Lowe's knows savings. Lowe's knows pros. Valid from 3/20 to 7/20 while supplies last. U.S. only. Lowe's reserves the right to limit quantities. Discount taken at time of purchase.
Imagine you're looking at a balancing scale with everything you do for other people on one side and everything you do for yourself on the other side. If it isn't balanced, maybe it's time to spend a little more time on you. And therapy is a great place to start. BetterHelp connects you with a licensed therapist online who can help you find that balance and stick to it. Visit betterhelp.com/score to get 10% off your first month. That's betterhelp.com/score.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today?
I think my battery's dead.
With free battery testing and charging, AutoZone is here to help.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
What if I need a new one?
We have the right batteries right here at America's #1 battery destination.
Get in zone.
And what if I don't know how to connect it?
No problem. We have a how-to for you at AutoZone.com.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
Do you have heart failure and often hear,
"Those stomach issues ruined your birthday"?
"You're too tired to play catch, Grandpa."
"Sweetie, you haven't touched your tools since the carpal tunnel syndrome diagnosis."
if these seemingly unrelated symptoms sound familiar, talk to your cardiologist. Ask about transthyretin amyloid cardiomyopathy, or ATTR-CM, a rare and underdiagnosed disease that gets worse over time. Learn more at connecttoyourheart.com. That's connecttoyourheart.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Guys, fellas, men, do you want a better sex life? Roman has genuine medication that helps you achieve and maintain what you need to perform. Roman has discreet wipes that help you last 4 times longer in bed. Roman has testosterone testing and treatment. Treating low testosterone can help revive your sex drive. So men, what are you waiting for? For a better sex life, go to ro.co/bettersex. Do it today and get 20% off. That's ro.co/bettersex.
At Lowe's, we're always bringing pros more ways to save. Right now, get a Flex 24-volt half-inch drill driver kit for only $99. Was $179. That's a savings of $80. Plus, you'll always save big on job lot quantities when buying select building supplies in bulk. Lowe's knows savings. Lowe's knows pros. Valid from 3/20 to 7/20 while supplies last. U.S. only. Lowe's reserves the right to limit quantities. Discount taken at time of purchase.
If you need new roofing, siding, or gutters, skylights, or patio enclosures, if you're a homeowner or business and need someone you can trust, don't take a chance. Enhance with Lance. Lance Roofing and Siding in Fairborn has been satisfying customers since 1993 and hold an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau. Lance Roofing and Siding, 8460 Dayton Springfield Road in Fairborn. Call for a free estimate at 864-2722. That's 864-2722 or online at lanceroofing.com.
Do you have heart failure and often hear,
"Those stomach issues ruined your birthday"?
"You're too tired to play catch, Grandpa."
"Sweetie, you haven't touched your tools since the carpal tunnel syndrome diagnosis."
if these seemingly unrelated symptoms sound familiar, talk to your cardiologist. Ask about transthyretin amyloid cardiomyopathy, or ATTR-CM, a rare and underdiagnosed disease that gets worse over time. Learn more at connecttoyourheart.com. That's connecttoyourheart.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Angie's List is now Angie, and we've heard a lot of theories about why.
I thought it was an eco move. Fewer words, less paper.
No, it was so you could say it faster.
No, it's to be more iconic.
Must be a tech thing. But those aren't quite right. It's because now you can compare upfront prices, book a service instantly, and even get your project handled from start to finish.
Sounds easy.
It is, and it makes us so much more than just a list. Get started at Angie.com. That's ANGI, or download the app today.
Staples stores provide innovative products and services for small business, remote workers and learners, even teachers and parents. Explore more at your local Staples store.
All right, everybody, welcome back. Kenner and Cav live here on Dayton's ESPN radio station, 1410 Wing AM. For those watching on the Facebook feed and on ESPN Dayton's YouTube channel, it's Kenner and Cav, but today it's Kenner and Keith. We got the College Football Hall of Famer Keith Byars and Mr. Byars. Well,
same letter, first name.
Maybe not. I don't know why your camera seems to be, oh, here. This is why. Look. There.
Hi. Hey, guys.
Almost. There we go.
Yeah.
There we go. Now, for those watching, you can see Mr. Byars live with us here on Kenner and Cav on 1410 Wing AM. We opened up the show today talking a little Cincinnati Reds baseball. And, of course, the lineup out for tonight. We'll see the debut of one of the Reds' top prospects and shortstop Matt McClain. He'll bat second behind Jonathan India. Reds lineup for tonight since it just came out. And we're going to talk more with Nick Kirby coming up here in just a moment. But Jonathan India will lead things off and start at second. Batting second in that shortstop, making his major league debut tonight for the Reds, Matt McClain. In left field, batting third is Jake Fraley. In the cleanup spot at first base, Spencer Steer. Batting fifth and behind home plate, the catcher Tyler Stevenson. Nick Senzel will bat sixth, and he'll get the start at third base. The DH tonight batting 7th and Henry Ramos. And then in right field batting 8th will be Will Myers. And in center field batting 9th, Stuart Fairchild. So India, McLean, Fraley batting 1, 2, and 3. 4, 5, and 6 will be Steer, Stevenson, Senzel. And then 7, 8, and 9, Ramos, Myers, and Fairchild. And then luckily for the Reds, and luckily for, of course, Matt McLean, he'll have Hunter Green on the mound tonight. Actually, I should say good for Hunter Green, another weapon in the lineup. Hopefully Matt McLean has a nice debut tonight. But that's big news for the Reds.
I mean, that's I love to hear you talk about the starting lineup and what number you batted. What's the lowest you ever batted in the lineup? You played baseball at some point as a kid.
It was some point, but when I played,
do you remember the lowest you ever batted?
Like percentage, like my
no,
average?
no, like what number in the lineup?
I was like 5 and 6 in that range. So just on the outside, just on the outside.
No, lowest I ever batted. I batted 6 before, but that was by design. It was during the All-Stars, and we were so talented. And the coach said, "I'm gonna save you for 6." And I was like, "Okay, I didn't mind because 1 through 5 was good. We was stacked, 1 through 8 or 9. I mean, so we was good. And it just so happened because I was batting 6, in the crucial part of the game, late in the innings, I would be up to bat. And I led a team in home runs and RBIs during that All-Star time. So I didn't complain. As long as my name was in the lineup, I was happy. 6 wasn't too bad. But other than that, I batted 3 and 4.
I mean, obviously you were a pretty good football player. Pretty good. Not great, but just okay.
Okay.
An average career. But no, obviously you're known for football and basketball, playing one of the best high school basketball teams in the state of Ohio back in your day.
Mm-hmm.
And then won state championships in track, of course, track and field. But baseball was another love of yours as well. I mean, there's a reason you're one of the best Buckeyes of all time because you're a freak athlete. But baseball, one of my favorite things, like my did you know facts about Keith Byars that I was dropping, people ask about you. I'm like, oh, baseball is one of your favorite sports.
Yeah.
You had a chance.
My first organized sport I played as a kid
was baseball. Yeah. But I was bringing up the Barry Bonds thing. You had a chance to play with Barry Bonds at Arizona State way back in the day when you were trying to decide what you were going to do at that next level.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that was true. I mean, I had a baseball scholarship, even at Ohio State. So I had a dual scholarship. So I was supposed to play 2 sports in college, no matter what college I chose. And, when I went on my college visits, we had 50-50 discussions with the baseball coach and the football coaches. So it wasn't just all football when I was going to my college visits. It was, it was split between the two. Let's half my time while I'm here this weekend talk about football. The other half, let's talk about baseball. Because all I knew at that point was to play multiple sports. And so it was different. Once I get to college, I'm only going to play 2 because I'm used to playing 4.
Yeah.
So and then I got to Ohio State. I'm not going to say Coach Bruce lied to me, but I didn't get the total package from him after I committed, to Ohio State. And, played there as a freshman in, the fall as a freshman on the football team. I didn't start. But I didn't get redshirted, and I was on special teams, and I got all of 6 carries as a freshman. And was a senior. Tim Spencer was all Big Ten running back. He was graduating. And so once we get to winter conditioning, after we come back from the bowl game, and I had a conversation with Coach Bruce in January, and he said, if you don't take part in winter conditioning and spring ball, which, winter conditioning started in February, you're going to be on last team when you come back here in August. And I said, Coach, you didn't say that. A few months ago when you recruited me, last year when you was getting recruited, that I would have to, put off baseball a year. He said, you can play your sophomore year, but not now. No, I'm supposed to play all 4 years. And so I left out of Coach Bruce's office, a little upset, and I walked over to the baseball coach's office and told him the conversation I just had with Coach Bruce. And I was expecting him to be like, watch my coffee. I'm going to go over here and talk to Coach Bruce and straighten this out because I'm expecting you to be on the baseball team because, after I left that meeting, he said, well, that's what he said. Well, what are you saying?
There was no fight.
Well, that's what he said. Hey.
Well, it was Ohio State, like football school
what?
Or something? Like
what? So I had no recourse but to just, concentrate on football, my sophomore year. Well, I had to win the job. And so I went through spring practice. Come out of spring, I'm the starting running back. And then my sophomore year at Ohio State, I make all Big Ten and second team All-American, and there goes my baseball career. Because now I can see, well, in 2 years, I'm going to be a professional football player. Or I could start, I didn't miss, a whole year of baseball in college. I can, start to come now. But the baseball team wasn't that good. The coach wasn't, hey, keep you ready for baseball? And so I just concentrated on football from there on out. And that's how I ended up only playing, just football at Ohio State. It worked out well. I'm not complaining. But I always wanted to play, both sports, So even sometime after practice, I would go over and watch the baseball team if they had a game. I would watch them, play. I remember one time in particular, me and Pepper Johnson sitting there watching the baseball team, and we're both like, man, we supposed to be out there playing.
So
we
it
can
happened
help
to him too?
Well, Pepper, he played baseball. But he didn't get, he didn't, he could have walked on and been a whole lot better than what they had on the team there. Because Pepper was a pretty good baseball player too in high school. And they were playing Michigan this particular game we were watching. And I was like, let's go watch this Barry Larkin guy who's getting all this pub. Let's see how good he really is. He's from Cincinnati, went to Moeller High School. Let's watch him. And Barry came up and he saw 3 pitches. The first pitch was outside for a ball. The second pitch was inside to back him off the plate. And the third pitch, they're still looking for it because it was right down the middle and Barry just laced into it. And the ball never came back to the field. Hit it over the left center field. And me and Pepper like, wow, that dude is really good. We could have helped out. So, I used to watch the baseball team a lot. So I get a kick out of you, talking about the starting lineup, for the Reds and who's going to play what position, because I'm not a big leaguer, but I can imagine as a big leaguer to hear your name the very first time. And, your name is in the starting lineup and you're batting first, second, third, or fourth, or whatever. It has to, a feeling if you really love baseball like that. Every time the coach fills out the lineup card, your name is in it. I'm batting fourth, I'm batting sixth, or whatever. Or you're a pitcher, it's my night to pitch, and they're not going to skip me. They're not going to scratch me. They need me to pitch tonight. If more guys fell in love with the game, with the sport like that, so they won't just take it for granted. I mean, here we are, 3 hours or 3.5 hours before, play ball. That would be exciting to walk around the locker room, know I'm starting, today. And I've been in some baseball locker rooms, before, the game starts, just to see how relaxed they are. I've been to World Series. I remember going to World Series in '95 between the Indians and the Braves. I probably shouldn't have said that word.
The Braves?
The Cleveland. Yeah. Cleveland and Atlanta. Excuse me. But, the Cleveland team was down 2-0. It was game 3, and they needed to have it. But that, one of my ex-teammates, Terry Kirby, his brother Wayne Kirby played for Cleveland. And so we had tickets to the game. And the owner of the Miami Dolphins let us borrow his plane. So we took a charter up to Cleveland for game 3. But we're in the locker room before the game, like right about now, this afternoon, 3 or 4 hours for game. Their locker room was all loosey-goosey. I'm like, did they not know they're down 2-0? They got to have it tonight. But, Eddie Murray was walking around like a Tomei. I was like, oh, man, have a good game. Them dudes was like, hey, you guys come. Like, oh, we really shouldn't. I don't even feel comfortable in this locker room. You guys down to 2-0. I know we know somebody, but let's get out of here. You guys need to focus. Y'all got to have it tonight. And they won game 3, but it was cool to, to be at the World Series, in the locker room before the game. Yeah, just see how they prepare, for a game. I mean, I know how I was, 2 and 3 hours before kickoff. I didn't want to be meeting nobody. Who's just got to rock around the locker room? Leave me alone. I'm in the zone. But baseball players, you do it so much. 162 games plus playoffs. It's just monotonous. It's just second nature. It's what you do. And but the love of the game, that shouldn't, never, go away. And I'm not saying there's players today that don't love it, but the Derek Jeters and the Pete Roses of the world are few and far between, as opposed to it used to be way more of those guys excited about, stepping between the white lines and know you're a starter and being prepared to win each and every game. Is play hard, diving, for in this, sliding in the head first in the second or third base, running out a routine ground ball. I was watching the Padres the other day, and a guy, Tatis hit a slow roller to the shortstop, and it was this weekend against, and Mookie Betts was playing short, and he rushed to throw and threw it away. And it was like, wow. They said this is a regular season game, and that's a routine play for the shortstop, even though Mookie's playing all over. But because Tatis was gunning it down the line to get to first base, that made it sped him up a little bit normal, and he made a bad throw. Whereas if he had a jogged down the line, Betts would have slowed it down. And hey, this is just one. It's automatic out. But there's little things like that, the force of error. But when you can't, play around, with that ground ball, you got to charge it, get the ball out your glove, and sling it over to first base as quickly as possible. But how many times you see guys, I hit the ball to third baseman, I'm out. It just half jog, not even jog, half jog down to first base. You're like, man, what are you doing?
Like it's May.
It's May. It doesn't wait till October to run it out. Yeah. Run it out every time. Every time.
But all right, Justin Kidder, college football Hall of Famer Keith Byars with us live here in studio. We'll talk some Buckeyes and get into some NFL stuff coming up at the top of the hour. Keith is going to stay with us for a little bit longer. You can catch the Keith Byars Show Wednesdays from noon to 1 during the NFL offseason and college football offseason. And then in the fall, the Keith Byars Show, presented by Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken, is moved back to Mondays. But Keith off this week. That's why he's hanging out with us here today. And then back to your regularly scheduled Wednesday programming moving forward. So just keep that in mind, but we're excited to have Keith with us here in studio. I want to talk about the Reds on the other side when we come back. Nick Kirby, he is going to join us, and we're going to talk about it. The lineup was just released a little bit ago. The Reds are at the Rockies tonight. The Reds wrapped up a 3-game series with the Marlins over the weekend. They took 2 or 3 from the A's. They've taken 2 or 3 from the Marlins. They're hoping to take 2 or more from the Rockies. And then they got the Yankees coming up, and then they got the Cardinals. So they have a lot of winnable series coming up. The Yankees are going to be at home at Great American Ballpark this weekend. So there's a lot of excitement for Reds baseball right now, who we thought they would be dead and buried at the end of April. But here they are, 4 games under 500, which still isn't great. But when you look at where they fall in the standings, still within a few games of the division, 2 games out of the wild card. We don't care about the division or wild card as we sit here in May, but I'm just painting a picture to show you we're used to this team just being out of it by the end of April, and they're making things interesting, and they had a major call-up over the weekend, and that's what we're going to talk about with Nick Kirby talking Reds when we come back.
Listen, stream, watch. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash right here on Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM.
Heart failure, carpal tunnel syndrome, shortness of breath, stomach issues, lower back pain. How does it all add up? If you have heart failure and any of those seemingly unrelated symptoms sound familiar, it's time to talk with your cardiologist and get the full picture. They may add up to transthyretin amyloid cardiomyopathy. ATTR-CM is a rare and underdiagnosed disease. Recognize the signs and discuss them with your doctor soon. Learn more at connectwithyourheart.com. That's connectwithyourheart.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Whether you own a local business or a global one, you know that these days, generating growth is a challenge. By teaming with Bank of America, you'll not just stay ahead of the curve, you'll move it. With access to experts, award-winning insights, and business solutions so powerful, you'll make every move matter, locally and globally. Visit bankofamerica.com/banking for business to learn more. What would you like the power to do? Copyright 2023 Bank of America, N.A.
Make hiring easier with the Workforce Experts. Hiring is about finding the right person, so let the team at Express Employment Professionals recruit for you. Visit expresspros.com.
Finding great people to hire can be like trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Their powerful matching technology delivers so many qualified candidates, it's like finding a needle in a needle stack. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. For less hay and more needles, head to ZipRecruiter.
And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free. At ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
By texting 64000, you agree to receive recurring automated marketing messages from Babbel. Message and data rates may apply. No purchase required. Terms apply. Available at babbel.com/TNC.
What's holding you back from learning the language you've always wanted to know?
Too hard.
Takes too long.
Not with Babbel. Babbel's lessons take just 15 minutes a day, and they're fun, so you don't realize you're learning a language, but you are. In 3 weeks, you're able to start having conversations.
And with Babbel, it isn't hard.
It's perfect.
And now try Babbel free. Text radio to 64,000. Text radio to 64,000.
Want to feed your family without breaking the bank? Take a trip to Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken and pick up a 16-piece family meal at a great price. With 16 pieces of our classic honey-dipped, hand-breaded Famous Recipe Chicken, 4 craveable large sides, and 8 fluffy biscuits. It's affordable eats done right. Treat your crowd to the best for less with the Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken 16-piece family meal. Only at Lee's. Famous for chicken.
There's a race going on inside your body, and sometimes the bad guys, otherwise known as arthritis, get there first. That's when the joint pain kicks in.
Your healing process is just too slow and just can't catch up, and it needs just a little bit of help from QC Kinetics.
That's Dr. Daniel Zuckerman, a QC Kinetics medical director.
We all know that you can heal yourself. If you get a cut, it heals on its own. Your joints are no different. We can take the healing properties from your blood, concentrate them down, and put them in the spot that you need the help. It's amazing. Your body can heal itself.
At QC Kinetics, that's called regenerative medicine. No surgery or steroids, just lasting relief, the natural way.
The fact that we can treat them without surgery, but using their own body's natural healing process, without medications, without steroids, without surgery, it's just amazing.
Call QC Kinetics now for your free consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 937-936-0325. That's 937-936-0325. 937-936-0325.
A lot of new enrollments, huh? Braylon, Brayden.
Monique's daycare is crawling with new arrivals.
Hey, sweetie, are you hungry?
She needs more early childhood educators.
Did your socks slip off again?
And a nap.
Hey there, little guy. Okay. Shh. Whoa.
Indeed can help her hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. We instantly connect you with quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Small business owners, we know finishing your to-do list can feel like climbing a mountain, but that mountain is also covered in banana peels. Then when something new gets added to your list, you're like, nope, I'm already climbing this huge, super slippery banana peel mountain of a to-do list. At Progressive, we don't want to make your day any harder. That's why we make it easy to manage your policy on our mobile app. So climbing that banana peel mountain feels more like a leisurely stroll. See if you can save on commercial auto insurance in as little as 6 minutes at progressivecommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Coverage subject to policy terms and conditions.
Need an online notary? We can help. Hi, this is Mike Foley, your Montgomery County Clerk of Courts. We can notarize your documents remotely at no charge to you. All you need is a smartphone or laptop. Visit courthouse2u.com for more info.
Not so comfy? They want to help. At Drake Heating and Air, they're all about getting your AC running ice cold again. Get your $99 AC tune-up with no hidden fees and no surprises. They're not happy till you're comfy.
All right, everybody, welcome back. Justin Kinner with you here on Dayton's ESPN radio station, 1410 Wing AM. College Football Hall of Famer Keith Byars, he is also with us live here in studio, but he'll rejoin us coming up at the top of the hour. We'll get into some NFL stuff. We'll talk some Buckeyes. We're in the full offseason now. The draft is official. Free agency has come and gone. The draft has come and gone. And now we just sit around and we just argue over whose teams are better, and we just take cheap shots at one another, and all just until we can finally get to September and let it all settle itself out on the field. But we'll get to some NFL stuff coming up here in a bit with College Football Hall of Famer Keith Byars. I'm Justin Kinner, back with you here on 1410 Wing AM. We're Dayton's ESPN radio station, but also Dayton's radio home of the Cincinnati Reds. And the Cincinnati Reds will be back in action tonight. They dropped the final game of a 3-game series against the Marlins over the weekend, but they look to turn their attention now as they start a big series with the Rockies. This one in Colorado. They'll be on the road. And of course, a big one tonight as they are officially we're going to see the debut of Matt McClain, who's going to be batting second in the Reds order tonight. Excited about that. And joining us now to talk about not just the success of McClain in the minor leagues and the excitement around him being called up to the majors, but this Reds team, who we thought would be dead and buried at the end of April, currently sitting within a couple games of a wild card, within a handful of games of the division, which I know means nothing in May, but we're used to this team being irrelevant by mid-April. We got Nick Kirby hanging out with us. Nick, it's been a while, my friend. How are you, sir?
Hey, Justin, how you doing? I'm doing well.
Hey, I appreciate you taking time and hanging out with us. I know you've been on the show in the past, but look, as we are sitting here a month and a half into the season, which is wild. I feel like the opening day was just like a week or two ago, but here we are. Look, I didn't really know what to expect from this Reds team this season, as far as like we knew that they were not going to be very good. We knew they weren't going to be contending for the division or be a playoff team. We knew that they were rebuilding and there would be some highs and lows. Well, right now we've already seen a month and a half in, a lot of highs and a lot of lows, but they're 4 games under 500 and they're on a nice little streak right now. Just your overall takeaway of this team a month and a half in.
Yeah, I think overall the Reds are playing pretty good baseball. It kind of felt like when they had that 7-game losing streak that all right, maybe they're going to get buried here and, we'll just kind of be all about the prospects and, building towards the future, but they've kind of crawled out of this hole and are at least making things interesting. Only being 2 games out of a playoff spot here on May 15th is pretty incredible. So a lot of credit. The Reds have really pieced together a lot of their roster. Derek Law, how about getting 2 wins where he started the game and they went with a bullpen game. So maybe right now they're playing well. Future looks bright, like you were talking about earlier, though.
Nick, so let's talk about the future. Let me ask you this. Are the Reds better than we thought a month and a half in, or are the teams around them worse than we thought? So I'm not trying to be negative or discredit what the Reds have done, because I've been following along and fans have been trying to discredit everything they've done. At least, the listeners I interact with about, they're beating bad teams. Well, usually bad teams lose to bad teams. The Reds, yes, they're beating up on bad teams, but good teams beat bad teams. I'm not saying this is a good or a great team by any means, but the Reds have taken advantage of some of the weaker teams on their schedule. They haven't fared well against the better teams, of course, but overall, the Reds are kind of doing what they're supposed to, and they're doing it in ways that I don't think we expected. I thought they'd be better starting pitching-wise, just with the young top guys they have in the rotation. I thought they'd struggle in the bullpen. The bullpen's actually been one of their strengths, especially when the starters don't go deep into these ball games. It's been amazing watching what they've been able to do. And they're not a power hitting team, but man, they're still putting runs up on the board. It's hard to figure out this team. Is this more of they're better than we thought, or are the teams around them not as good as we thought, Nick?
I think it's probably a combination of both, not to give you a cop-out answer, but I think there's a little bit of a truth in both of those things. I do think the Reds have had several players that were players that we maybe liked going into the year, weren't completely sold on, that have really produced well, like Graham Ashcraft, TJ Friedel, who unfortunately went on the IL today, but he has just been really, really impressive. Some of those guys stepping up, and then, like you mentioned, the bullpen. I mean, the bullpen's been the strength of this team, bar none, in my opinion. They rank 9th in baseball in ERA. I think they're second, maybe in the National League in ERA for the bullpen. And these are guys that there's only 2 guys that I think are making over league minimum, and that's just barely in Buck Farmer and Lucas Sims. So they've really pieced together a bullpen really out of nowhere that has pitched very, very well. Certainly some concern maybe about being overused and how they'll be able to hold up over 162. But they couldn't have pitched any better than they have through the first 6 weeks of the season.
Matt McClain, Ellie De La Cruz, obviously Encarnacion Strand. There's so many big names coming up through the system and are sitting right now in Louisville. Obviously, McClain making his debut tonight. Nick, if this team is 10 games under 500, if this team is not showing any signs of being competitive at all, is he called up right now? Are we going to start to see some call-ups that are maybe, I'm not saying premature, but ahead of schedule for where the front office thought this team would be here in May? Or is this a call-up a result of the fact that they are competitive, or is this a call-up that would have happened regardless, in your opinion?
I think it's probably about on schedule. Matt McClain's played 38 games where Encarnacion Strand's only at 19. Ellie De La Cruz is only at 21. Reds have made a lot of comments throughout in the last year that they were pushing Matt McLean through the system, a college bat. Starting him last year at Double-A was seen by probably some as aggressive. So I think Matt McLean's probably right about the spot. I like what you said earlier, though, Justin. I thought that was really well said and a nice perspective about the Reds have built some nice momentum here. But if you call up some of these prospects that aren't ready, that could really foil it if they, fall flat on their face. I really like the way that you said that. But I think McLean was right there where I just don't know what more he could have done at AAA.
Yeah.
I'm not a guy, call him up the second you want. I'm not a guy that you have to call everyone up to try to get every single win. I think you need to develop these guys. But he hit 12 home runs at AAA. At some point, you're just going to have this guy come up and be challenged a little bit.
Nick Kroll has done a fantastic job, I think. It's interesting. Everyone I talk to around the franchise, like anytime Nick Kroll is brought up, everyone just talks about the job that he has done with this rebuild that started just over a year and a half ago when they finally decided to just blow up this entire roster, which of course angered Reds fans. And then when you get the "where are you going to go" comments, that was just more fuel to the fire, and it just enraged everybody. But Nick Kroll's the punching bag for a lot of this stuff when you strip it all away and just say, okay, regardless of whether you wanted the rebuild to happen or not, if you just strip it down to what his job is in this rebuild, I don't think you can ask for a better job. I'm sure you would like to see a better return on some, but overall, you're only as good as the sum of your parts. When you look at the sum of the parts that they got in the complete rebuild, I don't know how you can argue otherwise that this guy hasn't done a great job. Just your overall takeaway of the rebuild as a whole and how much further along this team seems to be in this rebuild than compared to the one that we saw back in that started in 14 or 15.
Yeah, Nick Kroll really took it on the chin last year early in the season. It was definitely the punching bag, like you said, but it's been refreshing to see a little bit of the change in the Reds fandom and their feelings overall towards Nick Kroll. But I think he's done a fantastic job. This farm system is just absolutely loaded right now. And the thing, Justin, that's most exciting to me is you have Matt McLean, you have Christian Encarnacion Strand, you have Ellie De La Cruz, you have Andrew Abbott, but then there's guys behind them. Like Noelvi Marte is not that far behind in Double-A. And then behind Noelvi Marte, you have guys like Cam Collier, and that Daytona Tortuga team is loaded. And that's what the Reds have to do to stay successful. And they have to do it while they're winning, too. Reds can't, maybe say 2024, 2025, they go on and they're competing for a division title. They can't mortgage the future to try to win that year. Because we've seen what happens when you do that. Well, you're going to be sitting on the sideline for 4 or 5 years. The Reds got to be able to do two things at once. And I think, and I'm hopeful that Nick Kroll is really developing a plan that can do that. Because there's teams that do that. Cleveland does that. Tampa Bay does that. And I think for the first time, the Reds really have a legitimate chance of being good for maybe the next decade plus, where, 7, 8 years out of the 10, they're above 500. They're competing. And it's not this, Reds were nice for 2 years. Well, now we're going to be on the sidelines for the next 3 or 4. Hopefully it's a year after year after year after year thing. And that's what's the most exciting, at least to me.
Nick, you and I used to spar on Twitter all the time, and a lot of it had to do with David Bell, of course. But, if I'm going to throw out criticism of an individual, I have to throw out when I think they're doing a fantastic job. I don't think enough could be said about the job that David Bell has done. And while a lot of people don't like ownership of the Reds, got to give them a lot of credit as well for not pulling the plug on this David Bell run years ago when this started, when they weren't winning and when things weren't going right. Forget the past. It's just about what's happened this season. The fact that he's been able to get them to buy in and the fact that they've been as competitive as they are, even with the deficiencies that exist in this current roster, I think he's done about as good a job as any manager in baseball. I know managers don't get the credit that they used to in the game, of course, but at the same time, I think he's done a fantastic job pushing the right buttons, keeping the team morale alive. And they could have easily given up after that, getting swept by the Pirates the way that they did. I thought that was when we were going to start to see the snowball effect, but he got them to rally, and they've been a different ball club ever since. I think this is the most impressive job he's done since arriving in Cincinnati.
Yeah, this team is definitely playing with a lot of energy. There's a lot of hungry players. Like I mentioned, in fact, they won 2 bullpen games last week. I thought he managed both of those very well. There's things about David Bell I don't always love to. I don't understand, why you would use Lucas Sims if he's only going to throw 1 pitch. There's little things like that. there's some things like I wish Jose Barrera was up here. He was playing a little bit more, but I do think overall the job that he's done this year has been I think pretty good. At the end of the day, we're not really going to know how good or bad of a manager David Bell is until he really legitimately has a team that can compete. He only really had one of those teams, and it was a 60-game season. So really, how much do we know about David Bell? I don't even know the answer to that. But I've said it many times. The thing I always love most about David Bell is he's never going to go into a game unprepared. That guy is as prepared as any manager that's ever managed Cincinnati Reds. And for maybe some of his faults, which I think he has some, he makes up for a lot of them with always being prepared and always having the most data to make his a decision.
Last two things here, Nick. Again, appreciate you taking time and hanging out with us. Nick Kirby, we're talking Reds here, Kinner and Cav live on 1410 Wing AM. The Reds and Rockies coming up later on tonight. We'll see the debut of Matt McClain playing at shortstop, batting second in his debut coming up tonight behind Jonathan India. We'll talk about that more coming up. But Nick, last thing before we let you go, where are we at within this rebuild? You talked about 24-25. I mean, obviously they're competitive as we sit here in May, but there's still so much season to go. Who knows what's going to end up happening? This can all snowball out of control at some point, and it very well might. But where are we at within the progress of this? Because obviously they're a lot further along than I had anticipated right now. But, we still need another year or two to let Hunter Green and Nick Lodolo, Graham Ashcraft, let these guys just continue to develop. They're nowhere close to being a finished product, of course, but where are we at within this rebuild? And do you feel like at some point, or if this team continues to be super competitive, that we get anxious and start wanting the team to force things like, signing free agents, making trades? Do you find, is this team in that weird situation right now where they're starting to become competitive, maybe a little ahead of schedule?
Yeah, I mean, I think we need to still have some realistic expectations for this season. I mean, Fangraphs right now has Reds at 2.1% chance of making the playoffs. And honestly, though, if you had told me they would have a 2% chance on May 15th, I'm like, hey, that's actually pretty nice.
Good, yeah.
I'm not sure I would have even expected that, but we do need to put that into some perspective. For me, I just want to keep seeing progress among the individual players. I want to continue to see, like when Matt McClain comes up, I want to see him look like a big leaguer. We've seen that out of guys like Spencer Steer and TJ Friedel and Jake Fraley and obviously Jonathan India and some of the pitchers as well. I just want to see progress, and then I hope this offseason that the Reds can start to fill some of those gaps and they can identify what those gaps are. Reds should have a lot of money to spend. With Votto off the books, or most of Votto off the books, Moustakas off the books, Ken Griffey Jr. off the books, they should have some money to spend. And I really think next year, I don't think it's too far-fetched to say the Reds could be a legitimate contender. Now, does that mean win the NL Central? Probably not. Does that mean, contend for a World Series? Probably, definitely not. But with as many teams that get in the playoffs, I don't think it's all that far-fetched to say you add a couple pieces that you can identify what your needs are at the end of the year. And this team has as good of a chance as any of the other teams that are kind of floating around there to grab a playoff spot. And I think next year would be a better year to start really judging fully on wins and losses. This year, I think it's probably better to just measure success on overall individual development. But nonetheless, hey, it's exciting to see the Reds still hanging around and in the race here in mid-May.
All right, Nick Kirby, awesome enough to spend some time with us and hang out and talk about this Reds team again. We'll see the debut of Matt McClain tonight, batting second, debuting at shortstop for the Reds as they kick off a series with the Rockies later on this evening. All right, Nick, tell everyone about your awesome podcast. Again, you guys have had a great guest lineup throughout the debut of this, of course, a new concept that you just started to get involved in this year. I absolutely enjoy it. You go live after pretty much every game, correct? Is it live after every game? You get that instant, reaction, instant takeaways. Some nights I'm sure it's funner than others, but tell everyone about where they could find your podcast and talk about some of the work you're doing.
Yeah. Thanks for giving me the opportunity, Justin. Yeah, I'm on Chatterbox Sports. They're a really cool up and coming company that's producing local content in Cincinnati and I think a really high level. We started something called Chatterbox Reds. We go live on YouTube after every single Reds game. Most of the time, we're going live, usually top or bottom of the ninth, depending on the game, and finishing it up and then talking about the game. So there are some days, like yesterday being Mother's Day, that we ended up going much later at like 10 o'clock at night, which actually worked out really well because it was right after the Matt McClain news broke, so it worked out really well. But usually after every game, to subscribe to Chatterbox Sports, turn on notifications so you'll know for sure when we go live. But like tonight, soon as the game ends, we'll be on the air talking about it. And then it's always available in podcast form. That was kind of the one thing I think was missing as a Reds fan myself. There wasn't always something every morning that was just talking about the Reds on like a podcast feed about the game that happened the night before. So every morning when you wake up, it's usually up by like 4 a.m. at the latest. It'll be in there in time for your commute. So hopefully you have something just to listen to, recap the game, have some fun conversation, have a good time. And that's Chatterbox Reds everywhere you get podcasts.
All right, good stuff. Nick Kirby. Nick, you are the best, my friend. Thank you so much. We'll talk soon.
Yeah, thanks, Justin.
All right, good stuff. Reds, Rockies coming up later on tonight on Dayton's home of the Reds, 1410 Wing AM. Hunter Green on the mound, the debut. Obviously, as we talked about, a big one tonight for the Cincinnati Reds, so I'm pretty excited about that as we'll get to see Matt McClain debut at shortstop. All right, good stuff there. College Football Hall of Famer Keith Byars, he's with us live in studio, and we'll hang out with him for the next hour. Coming up, 1410 Wing AM.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash on 1410 ESPN Radio.
By now, you should know Audio Etc. has all the same sales and deals on TVs and projectors as everyone else. But did you know we also have some of the world's best hi-fi? Hi, this is Kirby from Audio Etc. And we do have some of the best home theater, high-fidelity gear on the planet. Not only do we have your favorite brands like Clip speakers and SVS subwoofers, but audiophile greats from Bowers & Wilkins, Kef, NAD, Marantz, Cambridge, Mark Levinson, and plenty of vinyl and tube gear. Plus exotics you only see in the magazines. Stop by today and visit Audio Etc.'s crazy cool showroom and see and audition the best audio and video has to offer. While you're in, check out our huge selection of pre-owned vintage gear. A great way to afford great gear otherwise out of reach, or revisit old classics. Audio Etc. Sound advice you can trust. Audio Etc. 551 Congress Park Drive at the corner of Paragon in Centerville, or call 434-9770.
Audio Etc. Crazy cool showroom.
For powerful HP tech your business can count on Staples. Staples has great prices on a full range of HP printers, PCs, laptops, and monitors. And now through May 27th, score an extra $50 off all HP laptops regularly priced $599.99 and above with the Staples Connect app. Plus, this week only, the HP OfficeJet 9015E wireless color inkjet printer is $70 off. For the best deals on the best HP tech for your small business, shop Staples. In-store only. Excludes Chromebooks and clearance.
This far into rush hour traffic, most people would have rage accelerated at least once. But not you, Lacey No Hard Accelerations Ever Johnson. Because you are a safe driver. And like most drivers who sign up for Snapshot from Progressive, which customizes your rate for how and how much you drive, you could earn a discount for your good driving. So if your hula dancing dashboard doll thinks you're going to hard accelerate because you're running late, then your hula dancing dashboard doll doesn't know. Lacey No Hard Accelerations Ever Johnson. Sign up for Snapshot today.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Snapshot not available in all states or from all agents.
At Lowe's, we're always bringing pros more ways to save. Right now, get a Flex 24-volt half-inch drill driver kit for only $99. Was $179. That's a savings of $80. Plus, you'll always save big on job lot quantities when buying select building supplies in bulk. Lowe's knows savings. Lowe's knows pros. About from 320 to 720 while supplies last. U.S. only. Lowe's reserves the right to limit quantities. Discount taken at time of purchase.
Make sure that your home's heating and cooling system is being cared for by your local Lennox Premier dealer, William Brockman & Sons Heating and Air Conditioning. They're offering special saving opportunities on a new Lennox system. So call them today at 937-222-8638 or visit online at DaytonHeatingandCooling.com to learn more. Dealer license number, Ohio license number 14911.
With over 15 years of experience as your local lawn health provider, Lawn Plus knows what it takes to provide a thick, healthy lawn. We offer fertilization and weed control programs, aeration and seeding, as the best defense against weeds is a thick turf. If your current lawn care company is providing 6 to 8 applications, that is far too many. We offer the highest quality products and service to get the best results in just 4 applications a year. Call us today at 937-839-LAWN, and remember, if you give a weed an inch, it'll take a yard.
Cordell Transportation is now hiring Class A CDL drivers.
Excellent pay, benefits, and a $5,000 sign-on bonus. Apply today. Online at CordellTransportation.com. Driven to succeed.
There's never any FOMO with the iHeartRadio app. You won't ever have to miss out on your favorite shows and contests with this radio station again. Radio 24/7, 365. We're here when you want us. Stay connected and listen anywhere when you download the free iHeartRadio app.
Hurry to Wendy's and get a delicious strawberry frosty today. It's worth it. Limited time only at participating Wendy's.
Coming to you live from the Superbook Sports Studios in Kettering. You're listening to Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM.
Everybody, welcome back. Justin Kinner, College Football Hall of Famer Keith Byars. We are live here on Dayton's ESPN radio station, 1410 Wing AM. Thank you, Nick Kirby, for spending some time with us to kind of break down these Cincinnati Reds. Usually, as we sit here in mid-May, the Reds are an afterthought because they're usually 10 games under 500. They're well out of the conversation, but they've definitely made May interesting, and that's all you can ask for. As I said, coming into the season, just give me April. Give me April for content. Thought we'd be done by May, but there's a lot of content, a lot of Reds content for the month of May, and I appreciate Nick taking time and hanging out with us. But hanging out with us live here in the studio, College Football Hall of Famer Keith Byars. You can catch him live every Wednesday from noon to 1, the Keith Byars Show, presented by Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken. But he's hanging out with us today. You're heading out Wednesday for a golf trip, so you'll be back to start the show next week. Yep. That's why you're hanging out today.
Philly.
You might be the only athlete in Philly people are excited to see right now. I tell you, outside the
Phillies aren't playing well.
Philly, Sixers,
but my Pirates was the first team in Major League Baseball to 20 wins. We got 22 now. we just probably won one. We was on a 5-game losing streak. But hey, they're ahead of the Reds. They're ahead of the Reds, not by much, but they're 3 games over 500.
Real quick, we are live. So the Justin Kinner Show Facebook page, we are live on right now. Want to give a couple of these a read real quick. Scott Campbell says, let's go Reds. Let me make sure. Yeah. He goes, let's go Reds. 2 games out of the wild card. I know that's a fun talking point. Not there yet as we sit here in mid-May, but I appreciate the passion, Scott. Sean Matthews says, with McClain coming up and Friedel going to the IL, do you think Barrero will get some time in center field? I think right now you're going to see a lot of guys either platooned or just used in different ways, especially as they're trying to figure out who some of these young guys are coming up, what are their roles going to be. This isn't a deep roster to begin with. There'll be options. Barrero, we were expecting more out of him. It just hasn't worked, but he's still a guy that you can have for depth purposes on a good team. But does he have that value now? That's the big question. Forrest on Facebook says, yeah, I got to say the Reds are actually doing something this year. It's looking good. They're not great. They're not a good team, but they are a competitive team, and that's what's making them interesting here in May. And it's all you can ask for because there's a lot of teams not playing good baseball right now, and the Reds are trying to capitalize on that. Scott Campbell says, I'm heading to Great American Ballpark with my family on Sunday, and I cannot wait. It's also an 11:35 a.m. first pitch coming up later on this weekend. Mark Smith, Keith says, so have I missed the part where Kinner talks about Burrow growing his hair out and wearing a headband? He grew his hair out and is wearing a headband?
Show off.
Now I know what we're talking about third hour. Yeah. Anyways. Yeah, no, show off. Yeah. So
heavy hair.
So I have a question, Keith. Over the weekend, I'm golfing, and group in front of us, they end up hitting a house. I've used this conversation before, but every time it happens or I witness it, I'm always just amazed at the reactions of people. Now, no one is ever thrilled or happy when their house on a golf course gets drilled by a golf ball. You golf a lot, so I'm curious if you've seen this before, but I'm not saying you've hit a house.
You bought that house and it was on the golf course.
Yeah.
You didn't buy a house. I'm saying, let's build a golf course here.
But
it's really come together.
So this group in front of us, they hit a house, and this lady comes out and just unloads on this group. They weren't aiming at her house. It's not like they were, framing their shot that way or anything like that.
Right.
Took a mean little hook and bam, you heard it hit and hit a window. All right, nothing broke. It just made contact with the house and she lost her mind. Now, my big argument is this, and we have a lot of listeners that golf or, play golf or have golfed or love golf. I don't know how many of our listeners live on a golf course, but I am curious for those that do, and your take, do people that live on a golf course have the right to come out and be pissed off if you hit their house with a golf ball when you live on a golf course? Your takeaway.
Good question. No, they do not have a right to be upset. You know, when you bought a house and you're on the golf course, that's, it comes with the, it's like you're asking for water, but I don't want it wet. The wet and water comes together. You got a house on the golf course, you're going to have balls in your backyard. My brother lives in Atlanta. He lives on a golf course. He finds golf balls all the time in his backyard. He doesn't need a shag bag because he's got plenty of balls in his yard. When I lived in Florida, I lived in a golf course community. And one day a guy came up to me at lunch and he said, Keith, he lives on the dog leg left. I mean, you're going to get a lot of balls. And he said, Keith, I mean, I'm not trying to be a jerk or anything, but I got it. You've hit my house a few times. Can you kind of aim the other way? I looked at that dude. I said, man, you think I'm good enough to hit your house on purpose? You think I bypassed the option of hitting the fairway just to hit your house? Like, relax, man. And why are you going to say it to me? Because I got a bigger name here in this community? No, don't do that, man. I said, no, I'm not aiming at your house. You're just trying to just be a jerk. But it happens. I mean, people, you live on a golf course. You have it in your homeowner's insurance policy that they're going to take care of it. And if you don't, shame on you. I allegedly broke a skylight up in Columbus. I won't tell you which course. I don't want them to come back and, hey, he admitted it. I said allegedly broke a skylight on this course in Columbus, and the guy hounded me for 2 years, thought I was going to pay for it. I'm not paying for that. You live on a golf course. That's occupational hazard. I mean, you live there, but, with that being said, would I ever live with my house on a golf course? Sure. And you just reap the benefits. It would just choose your house wisely. That's all. Be up by the green or by the tee box. When you're one of those shots in the fairway, you're more apt to, to get your house hit. It's not the end of the world.
Yeah, we golfed at Muirfield last week. And I forgot what hole it was, but it was lined by some houses. And the whole time I'm just thinking, man, I know I have some wicked light hooks on some of these. So I'm just praying that it's the straightest shot.
And you would not have been the first one if you hit one in their yard. You wouldn't have been the first.
But there's
just the last.
There's a lot of courses here that have nice houses along the line. But at Muirfield, there's some that I'm like, I can't even afford to replace the flower that my ball just rolled over in their yard or whatever. So, it was a good shot.
Urban Meyer lives on Muirfield. You should have went over.
I think he moved. They
said moved out of that house.
Yeah, when we golfed there, I said, which hole does Urban live on? And they said it was off of 7, I believe. And they said that he sold that house. They don't live there anymore. That they live in Columbus still, but they don't live there
Not there.
anymore.
Okay.
Jack's house is off of, is it 5? I think Jack lives off of 5. I think it's like a par 3 that he lives off of. But it's buried. I mean, when he pointed to me, all I saw were trees. He goes, "It's in there. I promise you." I'm like, "Yeah, it was by design, I'm sure." But that was cool. We'll be doing the shows from the memorial coming up here in a few weeks, by the way, including you. I don't know if I've told you that, but yeah, I'm just letting you know.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah, you'll
no
be
problem. I'll be there.
Just let you know as far as that's concerned.
Is Tiger committed yet?
No, I don't think so. I think he's out for the championship, so I think he's going to be out for
that.
He
won't be there. Yeah. That's okay. It's still great golf. Golf course.
Nonetheless. Last golf question. Would you rather be, and Kevin and I have done these before, but sitting with you now. If you're golfing, would you rather have a group? Which one triggers you more? A group that's really slow in front of you or a group that's on your behind you?
Oh, that's easy. In front of me.
You impatient with people in front of you?
Yes. The people in front of me, they really get on me. They get up under my skin. Because if it's not because if they're slow, and the course, the hole in front of them is open, then they are the problem. But if it's 2 and 3 groups all slow, I can't get mad at the group in front of me. And so I'm more apt to say something to them, and I have in the past. Come on, guys, it don't take that long. I don't care if you're shooting 73 or 103. You still got to play at a decent pace. But I will share this story with you real quick. You're talking about the group behind me. I'm in New York one time on Long Island, and I'm playing a public course up there. And we're probably on about the 6th or 7th hole, and they've already hit down on us twice, meaning we're in the fairway, they're on a tee box, and they hit down, the ball landed, within 5 to 10 yards of us. And first time you could say, oh, maybe they didn't see us. But the second time, that is a problem. And so we look back, like get a guy, for the fairway, would throw your hands up in the air like, hey, buddy, watch it. Just be patient. It wasn't like we were playing slow or anything like that. And then we get to the 8th hole, which was a par 3. And we are literally walking off the green, and they hit the golf ball. And and it was one of those holes where the golf cart and the green were pretty close to one another, and maybe like 5 yards from the green to the golf cart.
Oh no!
And they hit as soon as I took a step off the green, and now I'm by the golf cart, and I saw the ball coming, and it was an errant shot. It bounced once, twice, and I let it hit me in the leg. I could have moved, but I let the ball hit me in the leg. I picked the ball up and I threw it in the woods. Yes, I threw it in the woods. And then I get in
You were that guy.
I was that guy. And so I got my cart, drove around to the 9th hole, and then I guess they finished hitting. Now I'm standing on the 9th tee, and this older gentleman comes up to me. I think he saw one too many episodes of Sopranos. Because I'm standing on the tee box, and this happened, 20 years ago. Like, I'm in my late 30s. He's in his mid 50s, estimate. And he's yelling at me, cursing up a storm. And I'm standing on the tee box. He's yelling at me, did you throw my effing ball in the woods? As he's still walking, as he's saying it. And I'm standing there, yes. That's how you get your effing head bashed in. And he's still coming at me. And I'm just...
He don't know who you are.
Didn't care. And when he said, that's when you get your effing head bashed in, that's when I said, okay. And then because I'm like, I'm already upset that he's sitting there yelling, cursing at me. So when he said that, that's how you get your effing head bashed in. That's when I stepped toward him now. And I said, if you think what I did to your golf ball was bad, that ain't half what was going to happen. You think you about to do something. And then he froze. And then he started Michael Jackson. He started moonwalking back to the freaking golf cart. Like, dude, you think somebody's scared of you? I mean, just because I reason I reference the Sopranos, because the Sopranos was on TV at the time. So he thought he was Tony Soprano. He could talk rough and he was going to be over. Nobody's scared of you, dude. Stop it. And he got back in the golf cart and, drove away. I finished the 9th hole. I go inside, tell the pro shop, head pro, and told him what happened. Because, he's already hit 3 balls at us in 8 holes down on us. I'm upset. That's how somebody can really get hurt. And I told the pro what happened. I don't want him to come in here and tell you a different story. But if another ball get hit at us, we're going to have a problem on this back 9.
Oh, so this was, if you said that, my bad. I thought you were wrapping up the round. You were wrapping up just the front 9.
Yes, that's the front 9. So when the 10 on the turn, that's what I went and told the pro. I said, because I don't know what story he's going to tell you. We're going to have a problem between holes 10 through 18. He hit another ball down here on us.
We get all live golf up in here.
Yes, and needless to say, nothing else happened. I guess, pro must came out and told him, hey, man, you better slow down. You're not going. It wasn't like they were playing slow. And that's still never excuse to hit a golf ball at somebody. Especially, you take a golf ball to the head, shoulder back, that's going to hurt. And come on, you got to have, it's one thing you hit into somebody on accident, but you blatantly hitting down, a par 3, you just don't care. You just don't, you ain't in that big, I know it's the East Coast, it's New York, people in a hurry. You're never in that big a hurry to hit an errant golf ball at somebody. Like I said, I let the ball hit me. I could have moved, but I'm like, no, he did. He hit the ball right at it. Here it comes. 1 bounce, 2 bounce. I just let it hit my leg, and I picked it up and threw it. He never got that ball back again. I threw it deep in the woods.
And you didn't get your head bashed in.
No, I didn't get my head bashed in. And I told him, hey, what I did to your ball is going to be half what's going to do to you. Don't try me. And I ain't no tough guy, but don't test me. Don't test me.
No, I've never seen you mad. Never heard you swear. So, there's buttons to push. I haven't seen those buttons.
Yes, he was trying to push one that day.
No, but my wife rarely golfs anymore, but we have golfed together in the past. I get anxious when there's people in front that are just lollygagging, taking their time. But I try to be considerate. Like, I don't look at the group in front of me. I see if there's a group in front of them, because that tells the story there. But like at times when we see that there's no one in front of them and they're just, just screwing around, that irritates. But my wife, she hates when there's people riding up on us more than anything. I'm like, I don't care if there's people behind us. They got to wait on us. We're going, we're if you're doing what you're supposed to, who cares who's behind you? We can only go as fast as the group in front of us.
I played Saturday at Miami Valley. I'm a member there. I teed off at about 10:20 Saturday morning. And we was playing pretty good. Then we got slowed down. There was a little rain and whatnot. And I was walking off 18 green at 2:20. And that was us playing. We weren't playing speed golf. And we had to wait on a few shots. So it was 4 hours. We were just playing in a timely manner at a pretty good clip. And I'm like, 4 hours is plenty of time on the golf course. That's all I could focus. Maybe 4:15 I could focus. But by 4:30, 5-hour round, I don't know. That's too long to be on a golf course. It doesn't take that long, to play golf. So then that's when you, like, guys, we got to pick up the pace. It don't take that long to play golf. And I hate to be out there with slowpokes, be like, we weren't waiting nobody. Yes, but everybody was waiting on you.
Yes. That's why people ask if I'm good at golf, and you've golfed with me too many times, I'm sure.
No,
people ask if I'm good at golf. I always say, look, my goal is to not be good at golf. My goal is to not slow the group that I'm with down.
Let's have a good time. Relax.
I don't even think I'm successful
The
at that.
PGA Tour is not calling any of us. Hey, we got a spot for you.
They're not?
They're not.
What are we spending all that money for?
Tell me about it.
All right. Kinner, Keith Byars with you live here on 1410 Wing AM. All right. We could talk some NFL. We could talk some Buckeyes.
NBA, baby. Ben Simmons is trolling the Sixers. Is he nuts?
That's
that's petty.
That's throwing salt in the wound right there for the Sixers. That has to hurt that you have him kind of throwing some shade.
No, you be like, really, him?
We'll talk. I want your thoughts on John Moran. That comes
yes.
the corner as well. The Browns make a huge trade over the weekend. One that I was smiling ear to ear about. The pass rush for the Browns is going to be off, the charts this upcoming season. We'll talk about that. But Keith Byars with us live in studio. We'll be right back.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash on 1410 ESPN Radio.
ESPN 1410 Wing AM weather.
Our forecast, partly cloudy and 50 tonight, partly sunny, 78 tomorrow, and sunshine but cooler, 62 on Wednesday. I'm Rick Shrimp for 1410 ESPN Radio.
Want to experience a truly unbeatable trio? Stop by Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken and try a 3-piece strips meal at a great price. You'll get 3 of our freshly marinated honey-dipped premium strips, 1 famous dipping sauce, 2 unbeatable sides, and a fluffy biscuit. It's the trifecta of craveable chicken. Discover why premium strips make the perfect meal. Pick up a 3-piece strips meal from Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken. Only at Lee's. Famous for chicken.
Make sure that your home's heating and cooling system is being cared for by your local Lennox Premier dealer, William Brockman & Sons Heating and Air Conditioning. They're offering special saving opportunities on a new Lennox system. So call them today at 937-222-8638 or visit online at DaytonHeatingandCooling.com to learn more. Dealer license number, Ohio license number 14911.
Live life to the fullest. You hear that all the time, but it's easier said than done when you're in pain, right? Hey, it's Keith Byars. QC Kinetics is in the business of giving people back their quality of life and providing much needed relief for chronic joint pain. And not just providing that relief, but doing it in the most non-invasive way possible, using regenerative treatments from your body's own natural biologic. Where is your joint pain? In your knees, hips, shoulders, or back? Well, QC Kinetics concentrates these highly impactful treatments right at the source of your pain, directly applying healing properties where you need them the most. And best of all, you walk into the office and walk right out after treatment. No surgery, no downtime, and patients are raving about the results. So what does living life to the fullest look like for you? Finally, being able to play golf, hike, walk your dog, enjoy time with your family, whatever it is, don't wait one more day. Get started today with a call to QC Kinetics for your complimentary consultation. 937-936-0325. 937-936-0325.
By now, you should know Audio Etc. has all the same sales and deals on TVs and projectors as everyone else. But did you know we also have some of the world's best hi-fi? Hi, this is Kirby from Audio Etc. And we do have some of the best home theater, high-fidelity gear on the planet. Not only do we have your favorite brands like Clip speakers and SVS subwoofers, but audiophile greats from Bowers & Wilkins, Kef, NAD, Marantz, Cambridge, Mark Levinson, and plenty of vinyl and tube gear. Plus exotics you only see in the magazines. Stop by today and visit Audio Etc.'s crazy cool showroom and see and audition the best audio and video has to offer. While you're in, check out our huge selection of pre-owned vintage gear. A great way to afford great gear otherwise out of reach, or revisit old classics. Audio Etc. Sound advice you can trust. Audio Etc. 551 Congress Park Drive at the corner of Paragon in Centerville, or call 434-9770.
Audio Etc. Crazy cool showroom.
Cordell Transportation is now hiring Class A CDL drivers. Excellent pay, benefits, and a $5,000 sign-on bonus. Apply today. Online at CordellTransportation.com. Driven to succeed.
Hey, Doctor, not a real customer. Quote based on the healthy, non-smoking 44-year-old male with a 20-year term policy. Rates may vary.
Welcome to Ethos, a new kind of insurance company that believes life insurance should be hassle-free, affordable, and accessible for everyone.
For around $1 a day, I got a 20-year, $250,000 term life insurance policy without a medical exam. All I had to do was answer a few health questions and snap, family protected. It was quick and easy. Ethos is 100% online. I got a quote in seconds, applied in minutes, and got coverage in hours. Just answer a few health questions. No medical exam, no blood tests, no hassle. Look, nobody wants to plan for the unthinkable, but it would be so much worse to not plan at all. So don't put it off. It feels great having the peace of mind knowing that my family is protected.
Ethos, the 100% online hassle-free way to get affordable life insurance. Don't wait. Get your free online quote now at ethoslife.com. That's ethoslife.com.
Tuning in to the high school football game, monitoring the incoming storm, catching your favorite talk show. These are just a few of the reasons more than 80 million Americans depend on AM radio. And did you know AM radio is the backbone of the emergency alert system, keeping the public safe in dangerous times, no matter what the reason. 1410 Wing AM is here to serve you. Visit wearebroadcasters.com to learn more and tell us how you depend on AM.
Maytag month has got it going on. It's all you want with the savings all month long. Baby, can't you see? Maytag month is all you need. You know you can't go wrong when Maytag month is going on.
Upgrade to the performance you need on all Maytag major appliances during May is Maytag month, happening all month long.
Maytag month is going on.
Yeah, I'm so stressed. Our business is growing. We've got people all over now.
Ooma.
What is that? Meditation?
I'm recommending the Ooma cloud phone system with auto attendant and more than 50 features.
Ooma?
Yep. Switching to Ooma is a cinch. Just $24.95 per month per user, plus taxes and fees.
Ooma.
Now you're feeling it. Find small business calm at ooma.com/radio. That's OOMA.com/radio.
All new spring deals are here at Lowe's. Save now on the garden essentials to brighten up your outdoor spaces. Lowe's knows spring. Lowe's knows home improvement.
On Twitter, make sure to give us a follow. Search 1410 Kinner for Justin Kinner on Twitter. That's 1410 KINNER. And ESPN Dayton for the station Twitter handle.
Justin Kinner, joined by College Football Hall of Famer Keith Byars, live here in studio. You're listening to Dayton's ESPN Radio 1410 Wing AM. Keith, the free agency period has come and gone. The draft has come and gone. For fans, it really feels like the NFL offseason now. You're a former NFL player. You played in the league for 13 years.
13 of them.
when did the what did you consider the actual off season? For fans, it's after the draft, it seems like, but is it the second your season's done, it's off season mode, or what is a NFL player's off season like as far as like the calendar layout, if you will? Like when is
it
your
never ends.
downtime? Yeah.
No, the off season was when you're walking out of the locker room after a playoff loss or the Super Bowl or the regular season, the last game of the season. You know, one more day for the exit interview, and then you're off, which means, you you really got a good month and a half off, to just, that's the off season. And then it's all about getting ready for the upcoming season. It's all you need. So most guys go on vacation, like when the NBA players lose in the playoffs.
Yep.
They headed to Cancun, 1, 2, 3 Cancun, get on a boat, all that little funny stuff. So it's the same way in the NFL. Once you're out of the playoffs, you need a regular season, you need a vacation. And most guys go on vacation within a week or two of the season being over with, just to go and get away from football. Just go to your favorite, vacation spot, or just go sit on your couch and just relax. Just veg out after a long, hard season. But certainly by the early March or middle of March, it's all about September, getting ready for the first game of the season. So, so you're in official off-season mode, is from March on. You're in off-season mode, but you're more vacation mode once the season is over with, to decompress the season you just went through. But by March, it's time to get focused on getting better, because you hear me talk about it all the time. If you want to have a good regular season, you have to have a good off season.
Yeah.
How do you get better during the off season? You don't get better once the season get here, because it's too many things to concentrate on. This is when you put things in your game when there's no pressure. Like last year when the Browns, signed Deshaun Watson. One of the things we said, man, it's not enough time for him to work with the receivers and get acclimated to the Cleveland Browns offense. He's going to take him and he's going to be suspended and all this other stuff. So now he has a real off season. Now he has times to work with the Cleveland Brown receivers, running backs, tight ends, and be the leader in that locker room all season long. That's when you look at the Patriots' success when Brady, all that stuff happened in the off season. The Kansas City Chiefs. You don't hear a whole lot about Pat Mahomes being here, there. It's, he's focusing on the upcoming season, him and Travis Kelce and all that stuff. They are getting ready. And, you haven't really heard much about Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase, which we shouldn't, because they're getting ready for the season.
Apparently he has long hair, though. That's what someone just said in the comments.
Yeah.
He's been growing his hair out. That's all.
But this is the time you relax and do all that stuff. Get better. When nobody's watching. And so that's why we still talk about football, even during the offseason, because it really never ends.
Yeah.
You're always in mode. And I always call this part, now that we've had free agency, we've had the NFL draft, it's the honeymoon, because everybody's own individual political spin on the NFL draft. All 32 NFL teams had a successful draft.
They all got the guy they wanted.
They all had
first
the guy
on their board.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, surprised they got him in the 4th round. They had him drafted no later than the 2nd round, but he was still there. His 4th round pick. He's 2nd round talent, or 1st round talent who slid to us. It happens.
When NFL season ends, fans right away, man, I hope our team gets this guy this offseason. Man, I hope we draft this guy. When your season ends as a former player, like when your season would come to an end, I'm trying to think.
No, I know what you're trying to.
What was your thought? Like, do you sit there and say, man, I hope the Eagles go get this guy? Man, I think we could really use this guy in the draft. Or, man, this guy's a free agent. We better be talking to him.
Well, what you don't want to see is, they come out, the needs for this team. You don't want to see your position listed. They need a running back. What?
Oh, you mean you?
What do you mean you need a running back?
Got me.
Well, you got me. We got a running back. We're good there. How about some offensive linemen? How about this?
That's what we really need.
So that's really the first thing the players are looking for. Make sure they're not coming after me. I mean, you're a quarterback, and they say, man, we need a quarterback. What am I, chopped liver over here? Yeah, pretty much. So that's really more important than you're really worried about how they feel about me. And that's when you have that exit interview, and the coach, they usually have their mind made up about next year, this year, about you. 9 times out of 10, they know whether or not you're going to have to. But I shouldn't say they know whether or not you're going to have to struggle. I mean, especially your running back, and you're the third or fourth running back on a team who only uses one or two rotation. You got it. You're the Cleveland Browns running back, and your name is not Chubb and Hunt. You're replaceable. You just want to make sure you're not replaceable. And the same with the Cincinnati Bengals at wide receiver. If your name is Jamar Chase, Taj Boyd, or T. Dixon, and you're trying to be that fourth guy who wants to someday be the third or second or first guy, hey, it's a longer road for you to haul. No matter how much they like you, they're still looking to replace you. Because remember, you replaced somebody else when you came on the team. So what you have to do at this time of the year, make sure they're not looking, after your position. I remember during the offseason when Ohio State signed, oh my gosh, the big defensive end out of Philadelphia, linebacker, played for the Chicago Bears. I'm looking right at him.
Not able to help here. My bad.
You can't even help me. He looked like a man-child. Oh, he was so big. And I thought he was a linebacker the Eagles were signed. I can't believe I cannot call his name. The callers, help me out. Had arms down to his ankles. Big, first-round pick. But when he was in high school, and he was from Philadelphia, and he came in the locker room, and I thought he was a new linebacker. And said, Keith, we need to meet this guy. Well, what position he play? Man, he's a high school kid. He's going to Ohio State. You got to be kidding me. This big guy. Well, he looked NFL ready then. And I'm on the tip of my tongue. I'm looking right at him. He walked through this door. I feel so bad. But, yeah, so that happens. You will see guys. I mean, and especially my early years in Philadelphia, you didn't have a good game. Buddy Ryan would have somebody there on Monday or Tuesday, preferably Monday afternoon. By the time we came out of meetings, he's going to try out somebody.
Yep.
So you constantly stay on the edge, and that's okay. It's just, makes you get sharper, make you, stay on your P's and Q's. And a lot of times, Buddy Ryan would sign a guy, he may only be on the roster for a week or two, but hey, you are replaceable. The NFL stands for that, not for long.
Over the weekend, last Friday, we were talking about, with the schedules coming out, Browns Bengals kick off the season. And so that the chatter between Browns and Bengals fans, the dislike between both fan bases, whatever. Talk about, the team's chances next season, yada, yada. But before we, got to the end of the night Friday, an announcement was made that the Browns made a humongous trade, Keith. They were able to just kind of swap some picks and really just take some money off the books, of course, for the Minnesota Vikings as they move on from Pro Bowl pass rusher and Zadarius Smith. And now the Cleveland Browns, who just continue to bolster their defense, they finish that trade. They bring in Zadarius Smith, another big-time pass rusher to pair with, obviously, Myles Garrett. And the Browns have just really focused on that. I mean, they revamped the wide receiver room and they revamped up front defensively. They like who they have secondary, in their secondary, of course. They brought in Juan Thornhill, the safety from Kansas City, of course, who's very good. The Browns just have revamped. A couple articles have come out. The Browns, the most improved team in the offseason, which, of course, Bengals fans make fun of the Browns. They always win the offseason. When Bengals fans make fun of Browns.
The Steelers fans used to always said about the Browns and the Steelers. So
but the thing is, if you should strive to win the offseason. Winning the offseason doesn't mean you're going to win in the regular season, and it definitely doesn't mean you're going to lose in the regular season. But you don't want to lose any season, if you will. I just laugh when Bengals fans rip the Browns for congratulations on winning the offseason. I'm happy that the Browns are winning the offseason. They looked at needs and they revamped those needs. They added depth to the wide receiving room. They, brought in to rehauled all the pass rushers up front. They couldn't stop the run last year. That's why they have, Tomlinson there in the middle to kind of eat that up. That's he plays that DJ Reader role for the Browns that the Bengals have in that run stuffer. I love what the Browns did, not just defensively, but adding depth to their wide receiver room. And then that full offseason for Deshaun. But the one thing I really love, Browns Bengals, they just despise one another. It's an actual rivalry, and it's not who's the better bad team. Our team's worse than yours, or our team's better than your bad team. Now these are two teams competing at the top for the division, looking to make the playoffs, looking to make deep playoff runs. I can't wait when the Browns and Bengals, if that day comes, hopefully it's this
AFC
season,
Championship
run
game.
into each other in the playoffs. How amazing would that be?
Yeah, it's never happened either, if I'm not mistaken.
The Browns have made that difficult.
Well, the Bengals have their fair share to
Andy
play.
Katzmeyer, by the way, is that the name you were asking?
No, Alonzo Spellman.
Oh, okay. Denver Lewis, thank you for chiming in on that.
Alonzo Spellman.
So back to the but no, he was coming back to help you with that. So.
Yes, thank you. I hate when someone's on the tip of my tongue. I'm like,
Yep.
you walk in this door, I'm like, it would come to me, hey, Lonzo, how you doing? Lonzo Spellman, he was a specimen. I mean, he looked like NFL ready when he was a senior in high school. It's like, wow, he's going to Ohio State. Awesome. I get to watch him at Ohio State, and he was a terror. Great player.
But Justin Kinner, Keith Byars with you here on 1410 Wing AM. All right, here's the deal. We'll step back for a few. I want to talk about that Bengals-Browns rivalry from your perspective, just seeing how
neutral. I'm neutral.
Intriguing it is nonetheless. But we'll get your thoughts on that. NBA playoffs, Lakers back in the Western Conference Finals. It's actually the bubble semifinals. These are the two.
How about that?
These are the two. Everyone said that the bubble didn't count a couple years ago. Well, the same exact teams, with pretty much the same stars on the rosters, leading the way. We'll talk about that when we come back.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash.
Justin, you're awesome, baby.
Right here on 1410 ESPN Radio.
This is the sound of a popular American motorcycle. It's the sound of freedom, the open road, really good times. And this is what it sounds like with a drunk guy in it. How do you like the sound of that? Cops are cracking down on drunk motorcycle riders. If you ride drunk, you will get caught and you will get arrested. Drunk riding. Over the limit, under arrest. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Transportation.
For powerful HP tech your business can count on Staples. Staples has great prices on a full range of HP printers, PCs, laptops, and monitors. And now through May 27th, score an extra $50 off all HP laptops regularly priced $599.99 and above with the Staples Connect app. Plus, this week only, the HP OfficeJet 9015E wireless color inkjet printer is $70 off. For the best deals on the best HP tech for your small business, shop Staples. In-store only. Excludes Chromebooks and clearance.
Finding great people to hire can be like trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Their powerful matching technology delivers so many qualified candidates, it's like finding a needle in a needle stack. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. For less hay and more needles, head to ZipRecruiter.
And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free. At ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
By texting 64,000, you agree to receive recurring automated marketing messages from Babbel. Message and data rates may apply. No purchase required. Terms apply. Available at babbel.com/TNC.
What's holding you back from learning the language you've always wanted to know?
Too hard. Takes too long.
Not with Babbel. Babbel's lessons take just 15 minutes a day. And they're fun, so you don't realize you're learning a language, but you are. In 3 weeks, you're able to start having conversations.
And with Babbel, it isn't hard. It's perfect.
And now try Babbel free. Text radio to 64,000. Text radio to 64,000.
At Harley-Davidson of Xenia, the atmosphere is positively electric as we look to the future. Our name may have changed, but Harley-Davidson of Xenia has been locally owned since 1984. Under our new management, the staff and store are buzzing to get you set up for the open road. Whether you're shopping for merchandise, a new bike, or just need some maintenance on your current ride, Harley-Davidson of Xenia is here for you. Visit us online to learn more and to place a reservation on your new bike. hdofxenia.com.
You have empty office space to fill or home office to create. You know what you need. You know what you'd like. But you also have a pretty good idea after you've shopped around the usual places what you need and what you like might not happen. Well, then you haven't been to Charles Larrick's Warehouse Outlet. Nobody has their selection. Nobody has their discounts. And every week, there's something new. If you need office furniture, Larrick's Warehouse Outlet can sell it to you for half the price and below manufacturer's selected prices. Half price and below on hundreds of items. Selection from budget to the best. Really, desks from $50 to $5,000. Filing cabinets from $25 to $500. Before you go anywhere else, do yourself a favor and come to Larrick's Warehouse Outlet. With 25,000 square feet of selection, you're not going to go anywhere else. Larrick's Warehouse Outlet at 23 McOil Avenue, Dayton. Open Monday through Friday, 9 to 6. Larrick's, continuing the tradition.
New at Menards. Performax steel shelving is the ultimate storage solution. Choose from a variety of heights, widths, and depths to perfectly fit your space. Made with industrial strength steel, Performax shelving systems hold up to 2,000 pounds per shelf. A 77-inch wide, 3-tier heavy-duty shelving unit is just $159.99 after 11% off. Good through May 21st. Savings are mail-in rebate. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
Save big money at Menards.
The world is always on, but you shouldn't be. Put junk sleep to bed.
During Mattress Firm's Memorial Day sale, get a king for the price of a queen and save up to $700 on Sealy. Shop now at Mattress Firm. Restrictions apply. See store or mattressfirm.com for details.
Hey, did you know nacho fries are back at Taco Bell? But they're not going to hang around forever, so don't wait. Or you might miss out on these hot, crisp fries covered in all those bold Mexican spices with delicious nacho cheese sauce. Or wait and just settle for flavorless fries. Regular, bland, spiceless, flavorless, flimsy, non-nacho fries. Just an absolute bummer of a fry.
Nacho fries are back. Get them today, only at Taco Bell. At participating U.S. Taco Bell locations for a limited time only while supplies last. Contact local store for hours and participation which vary.
What up, world? This is your boy, Kevin Hart, a.k.a. the comedic rock star. And guess what? I'm coming to a city near you with my new tour, Reality Check. And we are adding shows, doing it big. Brand new hour material, big laughs, big energy. Make sure you're in the building. Don't miss your chance to get your tickets.
Don't miss Kevin Hart's Reality Check Tour at Nutter Center on May 16th. Get tickets now.
Go to KevinHartNation.com now.
Hurry to Wendy's and get a delicious strawberry frosty today. It's worth it. Limited time only at participating Wendy's.
Whether you're at home, at work, or in your car, tune in to ESPN 1410 Wing AM or stream us live at wingam.com.
Justin Kinner, Keith Byars with you live here on a Monday. Hope everyone had a great weekend. Weekend kind of flew by. Did you have a good weekend, Keith?
I did have a good weekend, and we didn't even get a chance to say, "Oh, Happy Mother's Day" to all the mothers. I know we said it, so you said it on Friday, but again, Happy Mothers, and mothers come in all shapes and form: biological, step, neighborhood mothers, just people, surrogate mothers, all that. So, all you mothers, I hope it was yesterday and all weekend was awesome to you, because I salute you.
I was laughing about the month of May. Selfishly, it's brutal for me financially because it's my anniversary is in May. My wife's birthday is in May. My mom's birthday is in May. And Mother's Day in May. And so my mom's birthday was last Friday, and then Mother's Day on Sunday.
Ooh-wee.
My anniversary was Sunday, and then my wife's birthday is this coming up weekend. So
save your pennies.
Yep. And there was no like, oh, look, I got you a big gift for both. No. It has to be two big gifts. Otherwise, the love that we promised one another a year ago on that day does not count, apparently. So there you go.
Yeah, the anniversary. Oh, thank you so much. Don't forget, I got another day coming up here. Like, whoa.
Yep. So, that's me juggling the entire month as far as that's concerned. But nonetheless. All right, Justin Kinner, Keith Byars back with you here on 1410 Wingham. We're talking just during the break, this list ranking the Big Ten quarterbacks heading into the season. It was kind of weird. It's been a while since, Ohio State, and who knows if he is or is not, but Kyle McCord, assuming he's the quarterback, it sounds like, it's 80-20 him. I know Devin Brown was out hurt. He didn't really play in the spring game. That's overhyped. I don't think no one wins or loses a job in a spring game. Let's just be real. But I love the way it's hyped that way. But so this list of ranking the Big Ten quarterbacks heading into the season, because it's list season, by the way, it's, off season, nothing going on. So we rely on these lists. But it was kind of weird seeing a list of top quarterbacks in the Big Ten that didn't have the Buckeyes quarterback at number 1 overall. We're not used to that. That's how spoiled we've been quarterback-wise over the last decade. Well, more than that, but especially over the last decade, that's for sure.
No question.
So Justin Fields, obviously, heading in to another year with the Bears, trying to put an end to the narrative that Buckeye quarterbacks can't make it in the NFL, Keith. And then C.J. Stroud, drafted by the Texans. The Texans doing a very weird thing, too. Or not the Texans, I'm sorry. I know that's what the where Bryce Young went, where he ended up going to Carolina. They're not going to start him. They're going to start Andy Dalton, I guess, or something.
The Red Rifle.
And that's what their plan is. But the Houston Texans, C.J. Stroud, Justin Fields, C.J. Stroud, they were great Buckeyes. But, is it finally time, if these two have a great year this upcoming season, can we finally put to rest the narrative that Buckeye quarterbacks can't cut it in the National Football League? What needs to happen, I guess, to put
They're
that
going to
narrative?
always, you're fighting a battle you're not going to win, because if these guys come out and be successful Pro Bowlers, then they say, yeah, it was just him. And then my rebuttal to that was, okay, name me Michigan's. It's just the begin and end with Tom Brady, and let's not, people like to rewrite history. Was Tom Brady a world beater at Michigan?
No. He didn't come out of college as Tom Brady.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my gosh, the Patriots got Tom Brady.
Yes.
The Tom Brady era begins.
Other Michigan quarterbacks had way more hype than him, yet they didn't do anything. Brian Greasy. Come on, it's a list of those guys. But they get a pass at their position because of Tom Brady. He just wiped away all the history. One guy, just one. Where's all these great Michigan quarterbacks? I'll wait. That's what's going to happen with Ohio State. But the difference is, that's a narrative they just love to repeat year and year in, year in, year in, year out. Whereas, you look at past Ohio State quarterbacks in the NFL, just go from the 80s. Mike Tomczak, he was not a successful quarterback. Oh, he wasn't a superstar. But now you got a sliding argument. Mike Tomczak, I believe, played 14 or 15 years. That's not successful. He didn't start the whole time, but he was pretty darn good quarterback. Just because he wasn't a superstar in the NFL, that means he was a failure? No. Joe Germain played for a little bit. There's some other quarterbacks from Ohio State. Terrell Pryor, he not only played quarterback, he played wide receiver, tight end, and it wasn't all Terrell Pryor's fault reason why he was successful. He had multiple offensive coordinators at Ohio State, multiple offensive coordinators once he got to the pros. But he was if he was coming out today, in a better system, it's scary how good he would be. I could still see him going 96 yards against the Oakland Raiders. I'm like, that is a special kind of talent.
Yep.
So we've had talent at the quarterback position at Ohio State, but that is a narrative that gets to be popular, and they're going to always say it. I believe if he had lived, Dwayne Haskins would have found himself in the league. And I think Pittsburgh was the right place for him to sit behind Ben Roethlisberger. And then I think the trajectory he could have possibly been on, they may not even have ever drafted Kenny Pickett. And I think Dwayne Haskins will be the starting quarterback for the Pittsburgh Steelers right now if he hadn't had that accident. So that would be our last three quarterbacks at Ohio State would be having pretty successful careers, in the National Football League. And not to mention JT Barrett. JT Barrett is, he's had some, injury problems throughout his, his professional career, but they thought so highly enough to, hire him on the coaching staff for the Detroit Lions. Is that not successful? But they just want to see everybody's throwing for 5,000 and 6,000 yards a season. That would be the success. So if Justin Fields goes out and does that, and C.J. Stroud, it would only be a temporary. They would just call those guys as the asterisks because that's just, so much Ohio State hate out there. They just won't say, okay, now Ohio State has it. So, but that's because they're nitpicking at Ohio State. Name me a position in a National Football League that Ohio State has not had multiple, positions of success. Whereas, we're wide receiver you. Well, haven't we always been a running back you? Haven't we always been linebacker you and offensive lineman you, defensive end you? We've had success across the board in multiple positions that they just got to come with hate because people can't compete with us. So even when I'm sitting around at a golf tournament and we get to laugh and joke, and I'll be like, name your running backs. How far y'all want to go? And we can do that. When did Ohio State have a bad running back? We can go. Let's just start in the 70s. We could go back to the 60s, but you start from Archie Griffin there, all the way to where we are today. Name our worst running backs. You have a hard time naming them because it's just
Or the best running back would be the best running backs for some other Big Ten programs. So
and then wide receivers, we just start in the 80s with Chris Carter. That's because we started throwing the ball more in the 80s, but we had good receivers prior to Chris Carter, stepping foot at Ohio State. Paul Warfield. He didn't play wide receiver at Ohio State, but come on, y'all changed it. He was a wingback, but he caught the ball. He did everything. And then when they talk about great receivers at Ohio State, how's his name never mentioned? This is one of the greatest football players at Ohio State, regardless of position. And, Paul Warfield's name, gets overlooked in time when you start talking about great players at a university. It's still at Ohio State. I don't ever engage in too much of that talk and who's the GOAT Ohio State football player, because we have too many. Yep. We have too many great players to ever say one guy above all. Too many positions, that we have, that would qualify at a whole bunch of other schools of being the greatest.
Yeah, last thing on this, we have a couple more minutes, but the thing that's interesting, so we were talking about Kyle McCord a little bit ago on this list, and someone had asked me, or we were talking about Heisman odds the other day, and I said I think that Kyle McCord will be potentially a Heisman finalist, only because if you're a Buckeye quarterback, if the coaching staff, the way they recruit, every quarterback has the same traits, same qualities, some better than others, and even the ones that are not as good as the others are still better than all the other quarterbacks. When you have Marvin Harrison Jr., you have Ibuka, and you have the weapons that you have, and you're at the Ohio State University, if Kyle McCord, we have seen zero evidence to doubt that the next man up as the quarterback of Ohio State is not going to get the job done. I mean, we had doubts. We didn't know what was going to happen after JT Barrett. Dwayne Haskins comes in, Heisman finalist. Oh, man, 1 year of him. Man, what are we going to do? Oh, Justin Fields, 2 dominant years, Heisman finalist, and all this. Oh, man, Justin Fields is gone. CJ Stroud, you have big shoes to fill, Heisman finalist, and, great 2 years and gets drafted number 2 overall. And for a while was almost looked at as a guy that was going to be the first Buckeye quarterback to ever go number 1 overall.
Right.
So I have no doubt that Kyle, and this isn't a homer take, Kyle McCord, with the weapons he has playing at Ohio State, there is zero reason, without even watching any significant tape of him, I have zero doubt that he can come in and be a Heisman finalist or a Heisman contender, especially if Marvin Harrison Jr., who was a odds-on favorite to be a Heisman finalist, he can't be that if McCord's not good. So I feel like if Marvin Harrison Jr. is there at the end as a Heisman finalist, he can't be standing up on that stage without McCord next to him. I just think they go hand in hand. There's no proof, Keith, that we should be doubting who McCord's going to be as a quarterback.
I'm going to say this. It's only May. But whoever the starting quarterback is at Ohio State in September, on paper, he would have more talent than what C.J. Stroud had. Well, why do you say that, Keith? Because he would have all his running backs healthy. C.J. Stroud did what he did with the 4th and 5th running back. So if we have all our running backs healthy, Cal McCord or whoever, Devin Brown, whoever the starting quarterback is, will have more weapons at his disposal, meaning he doesn't have to throw the ball for 3,000 and 4,000 yards because the quarterbacks get too much credit when they win and too much blame when they lose. And he will get all that credit because the running game will be the main driver, will be one of the main drivers this year with Trevion Henderson healthy, Mayan Williams, Chip Channon, Dallas Hayden. We're going to have we dare you to overload that box with Emeka, Marvin Harrison, Cade Stover.
Yep.
We will dictate to defenses how you can play us. So they put 7 men in the box and you're going to leave 4 to cover? Oh, no. So then you only got 6 people in the box. You got to double team Emeka or Marvin Harrison or both. Then we're going to run the ball down your throat. So McCord or Devin Brown, whoever quarterback is, job will be easier with that running game. And, Brian Hartline, I know you like to sling the ball around, but you're the offense coordinator now. You have to coordinate the offense, and that means get the team in the end zone, score points on the board by any means necessary. Yes, we love to throw the ball, but if you've been a follower of Ohio State as long as I have, we run the ball first. And then we throw the ball. We don't throw the ball, and mix in runs.
Yep.
We run the ball first, and then that opens up everything else off that. So the quarterback of Ohio State this fall, with everybody being healthy, he's going to be in a great position to be way more successful than C.J. Stroud and Justin Fields.
Yeah, again, this came out today, too, as far as Ohio State's concerned, Keith. Ohio State's November 11th home matchup with Michigan State. That'll be a 7:30 kickoff on NBC. NBC. So remember, the new TV contracts kick in this year. So we see,
that means more money too for the teams, for the schools.
Fox announced too that they'll have Ohio State and Michigan. That'll be on Fox as well. Like we kind
big noon kickoff.
Big noon kickoff. So there's that. But that's pretty cool. That it's gonna be weird watching Ohio State games on NBC. This coming up here, but that's where we're at. That's for sure. But it's only May.
We'll adjust. We're just what channel? I don't care. Click. There they are. Okay.
Do what you got to do. Do what you got to do. All right, folks. Good stuff. Keith, appreciate you taking time.
Absolutely. Good to be here.
So, all right, we'll be right back. Hour 3 coming up next.
Listen, stream, watch. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash right here on Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM.
From the Chappelle Show and Black Mafia Family on Stars is Donnell Rollins and Friends. Friday, May 26th at the Clark State Performing Arts Center in Springfield. Tickets are on sale now at etix.com.
$5,000 sign-on bonus. That's right. My friends at Cordell Trans